And welcome back to the Gary Russen Program Freestyle Friday edition, hour number 2 of the Gary Russen Program. Boy, is that quick and fast, isn't it? I'm telling you what is up with that? Anyway, welcome back to the hour 2 of the Gary Russen Program, and we're going to do 50 minutes of non-stop talk and music on the 50-minute music hour. So stay with me for that. It's going to be it's going to be a hoot. It's going to be a blast. Join me, man. We're going to do straight 45 minutes of nonstop talk and music and different things like that. And never know what could come up in this next half hour. So keep it here on GJRB Online. And we're going to do some news and comment and different things. So we're going to get ready for that. And let's start right now.
Let's scroll through social media.
That means go through Facebook, Twitter, Google+. Why do I always say Google+? I don't think that exists anymore. Facebook, Twitter, and other places that has news. We're doing that right now, and we're on top of Facebook right now on top of the page. And I'm going to refresh it. So let's see if we get any news stories. Top of the page, let's see what we've got here. Movie in Frozen 2 coming out. I didn't know that. Wayne S. Pierce. Leaked documents reveal Democrats' plans to control social media. This is from Wayne S. Pierce, who is the head of the that old time radio where they play his old drama and stuff. New West Radio Theater. This is an interesting story. Leak of a memo has exposed plans by the Democratic Party to take control of the Internet's leading tech platforms. Tech platforms. This doesn't sound good. The Democrats, the communist Democrats, are going to do this. The document is circulating between senior Dems revealed a plot to push for strict government regulations, placing leading social media networks such as Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter under full control of the Democrats. Isn't that lovely? I thought that was already been done. The deregulatory other major web companies such as Google and Apple and Internet will come under the Democrats' authoritarian rule, allowing them to ban conservatives, independent media outlets, and anybody who doesn't toe the party line. So that sounds like we're almost done, Ed, if you're listening. What's that going to happen to Spreaker? What's going to happen to us? Does that mean that they're going to do this? The draft policy paper entitled Potential Policy Proposal for Regulation of Social Media and Technology Firms, penned by Senator Mark Warner and leaked by an anonymous source to Axios, details how the Democratic Party, working with liberal Silicon Valley, can regulate the Internet according to their own set of arbitrary standards. Reason Reports paper starts out by noting that the Russians have long spread disinformation, including when the Soviets tried to spread fake news. I don't know, can't pronounce that word. Anyway, talking about deniggrating Martin Luther King, whatever that means. Anyway, it fails to mention that the Americans are in charge at the time did the same, but now it's different because of technology. Oh man, today's tools have been almost built for Russians' disinformation techniques. Warner opines, and ones to come assure us that will be even worse. And here's how Warner's suggesting we deal with it. Mandatory location verifications. Paper suggests forcing social media platforms to authenticate and disclose geographic origins of all user accounts or posts. Mandatory identity verification, suggesting forcing these are paper. The paper suggesting the force of social media and tech platforms to authenticate user identities and others to allow authentic accounts inauthentic accounts not only pose threats to our democratic process, but undermine the integrity of digital markets. With failure to appropriately address unauthentic account activity, punishable as a violation of SEC disclosure rules and or Section 5 of the Federal Trade Commission. Bot labeling, B-O-T, bot labeling. This is from an article from Neonetal. If you're listening, Ed, and you're curious about this, this came from the head. He's a friend of mine on Facebook. He's got a station here on Spreaker called New West Radio Theater. It's like a radio drama network. He plays old radio shows and he has some new drama. And he's got a great station there. He also does controversial type talk show. He kind of does alternative talk, like coast to coast talk, like Dave Scott, like I mentioned earlier, talks about UFOs and stuff like that. And he posted this warning stating that the Democrats, and that's what I'm going to call them, I don't care what they do to me, that's fine, they can knock me off, but I can guarantee I'll find a way to get back on. They are going to regulate the internet. Now, wasn't this mentioned years ago? Haven't we heard this before? I mean, hasn't this already been done? I mean, come on. How much farther can they go? I mean, really. If you don't think their way, they're gonna make you in one way or another. This article states more, but I'm not going to read it. It just tells you that they're going to try all kinds of different ways to run the show. From Neonetal, this comes from. I give them the credit for this article. And, of course, sent it my way was Wayne S. Pierce from the New West Radio Network. Let's go further down the line now. This is from We Are Conservative Voters of America. President Trump on Friday called for Representative Schiff to resign, accusing the Democratic chairman of the House of Intelligence Committee of fraudulently reading to Congress a non-existing version of his call with the Ukrainian president. Oh, check that out. This is an interesting story. As soon as it comes up, this comes from the New York Post, stating that President Trump called for Representative Adam Schiff to resign, accusing the Democratic chairman of the House of Intelligence Committee of fraudulently reading the Congress non-existent version of his call to the Ukrainian president. The representative fraudulently read the Congress with millions of people watching a version of my conversation with the president of Ukraine that doesn't exist. Quote, he was supposedly reading the exact transcribed version of the call, but he completely changed the words to make it sound horrible and make me sound guilty. He wrote as he reviewed his claim that his conversation with President Volodymyr Zelensky as perfect. He was desperate and he got caught. Trump continues, Adam Schiff therefore had lied to Congress and attempted to defraud the American public, and he has been doing this for 2 years. I am calling him for an immediate resign from Congress based on this fraud. The commander-in-chief continued his tirade against Schiff later, calling for him to be investigated by his alleged lies. He said, quote, he's been doing this for 2 years, and he is a sick man, according to President Trump. He has then referring to a moment in the start of Thursday's congressional hearing with acting director of the National Intelligence, Joseph McGuire, during which Schiff described Trump as saying on the call that he would tell Zelensky 7 times to make up dirt on my political opponent. Schiff, Democrat out of California, later insisted his comments were meant to be, at least in part, parody. So this is what they're doing. They're making this stuff up, apparently. This guy claimed, under oath, and he this is according to an article in the New York Post that said that President Trump was misquoted in the telephone call to the Ukraine, and he was reading something that doesn't exist. Wow. So you have to wonder. See, this is what I've said before. The Democrat ploy and it's because, as I said over and over again, it's a Democratic's hunger for power. This is what they're doing. This is how they're. This is the power hungry left wing media, folks. This is what they're going to do, and I expect this. And it's gonna get ugly. You can bet that there's going to be some repercussions from this. You're listening to the Gary Russen program on GTRB Online. We're doing news and comment. Of course, the scroll through social media is what we're doing, and just getting news from my news sources. Some of my news sources like CBN, the Democrats, the Conservative Voters of America, and various other different other posts from different people, and giving my comment on it, because I can do that for now until they throw me off for my commentary. I might be this little peon on the internet doing this radio station, but it's bound to happen. That's for sure. Okay, for some reason it's not letting me post to the groups, so I'm going to have to click out of that and try it again. I'll just post. It's done this before, where I have to wait till it either unfolds open and try again, and if the group line doesn't open, I usually will do is just go general. And I'll have to do that, it looks like. It's not letting me post to groups again. It's done this before. For some reason, it doesn't let me do that. So I'm going to have to do it the old-fashioned way, right? Let's see if we can go up here and see if I left anything in the message board. Okay, I thought maybe... Okay, so I'll just post it the way it is. Because it's not letting me post to Meet the Spreakers or Spreaker Tavern. So I'm going to have... I don't know why it's doing that. Facebook. I'm telling you, I get kind of tired of it. I saw a posting earlier from Mike Myers, and I saw that posting that he is not happy, and he may be leaving. He might be leaving Facebook. I saw that posting earlier, and I'm really hoping he doesn't. But I don't blame him if he does, because I'm telling you, if it's just family that's on here, I may just do the same thing. I might not even post my show on here anymore. So if you, I would suggest you get MeWe. That's MEWE. Now, MeWe is a social site that specifically is for free speech. I mean, they don't shadow ban you. They don't take you off, or they're not doing what Facebook is doing. And they're a better site. I like them. They're absolutely fabulous, and they don't play around. They just don't. They don't. They don't kick you off or they won't kick me off for my show content. They're really great. MeWe, MEWE. Now I'm going to take a lot of people and invite them over to MeWe. Because this is a pretty good site. It really is. And as soon as Convo gets started again, I'll be ready for them as well. So check that out, Convo. I can't wait till they come back, because I'm going to probably be on there a lot. And that'll be a great debate. I guess they're making debates and videos or something, according to what Ed has told me. So I'm looking forward to Convo making a comeback. I'm looking forward to that. That's going to be really cool. Especially when I get fed up with a left-wing bias that I'm getting on Facebook right now. I really don't blame Mike for not for wanting to go off, because they're just getting to a point where it's just absolutely ridiculous, and they're just trying to control what you say. And going back to that article I talked about just a while ago, this is their plan from the Democrats, and that's what I call them. The communists are slowly taking over, and I'm not the only one calling them that. There are other ones calling them that. I'm not going to name names, but they're followers of mine on Facebook. And they're saying the same thing I am, and that is they are controlling our speech. They want to make sure that if we don't think their way, they're going to make sure we do. And I'm tired of it. I think that we need to stand up as Americans and stand up for free speech in this country, because they're going to take it away if we don't. This is and this is why I think our veterans are treated like dirt. Our veterans are treated by dirt because it's all because of this control. The fact that they fought for our country's freedom, and due to the fact that they fought for our country's freedom, they want to take away ours, because we respect the veterans who fought for our rights, fought for our freedoms, fought for that, and they don't like that. You see, so they are going to find a way to take that away, and they don't like the veterans because they fought for our freedoms. You see, that's what that's all about. They don't like us because we fought for our freedoms. They don't like it at all, and that's why I think that's why they treat the men who fought hard in our wars for our freedom. Because now it's sad. I just think that they fought in vain for our freedoms. I really do. I think that it's a sad thing when they take away things like that, and also our right to worship, our freedom to worship the true one and only true God, and that's Jesus Christ. And they want to do that too. It's just it's what they want to do. But we as Christians in America need to stand up for that. And we need to stand up for worshiping Christ, because Jesus Christ is the one and only. And he's our creator. He created those people that are taking away our freedoms. He created them too. He went to the cross for them too, but they don't want to recognize him as our Savior. That's just all that simple. And it's a sad thing. You listen to the Gary Russen program on GJRB Online here on Spreaker across America, and thank you for tuning in today. I hope you're enjoying the program wherever you're listening across the USA. And if you want to get in on the show and leave your comments, it's always proud to let it, your comments be part of our show. I love it when we get some bites on here. The last hour, Ed Delgado joined us. We were talking a little bit about printer ink. And that was kind of fun. We were kind of dealing with that one. And we were also talking about some, the mid-pack. And we're going to talk about this hour some more news. We're going to do more scroll through social media. We'll do some celeb birthdays and a whole lot more coming up here on GJRB Online. I'm Gary J. Russen. Thanks a lot for tuning in. Hope you're enjoying the program wherever you're listening across America. And this is the Gary Russen Program Freestyle Friday edition here on Spreaker. And we'll be back on the air again tomorrow at 3 o'clock Central Time for the Gary Russen Program Saturday Extra. And I'm hoping that maybe perhaps we'll have Ed Delgado. Ed, maybe you're listening. I hope you join me tomorrow. I'm hoping that we get Ben, my friend from Pittsburgh. I need to get a hold of him. He said he was going to be free on Saturday, but I'm going to double check with him just in case. And now, tomorrow's a Hawkeye game. Iowa Hawkeyes. I'm going to have that over right here on Talk FM 108, my 107.9 signal. But we'll have the Hawkeyes on. But if we don't, now the Hawkeyes on. Now, right after that game is over, it's usually over by 2:30, something like that. I'll be on the air, and I'll be flipping frequencies over the 88.9 on my 9-foot. And we're going to do the Gary Russen program Saturday Extra, a week wind-up of all the news that we had this week. We're going to do that tomorrow afternoon right here on GJRB Online, so tune in for that broadcast, and that'll be coming up, and we'll talk about all kinds of stuff. So join me for that. That'll be tomorrow. We're going to take, we'll have our phone calls on, and we'll leave you some commentary. So I hope you'll stay with me tomorrow at 3 o'clock Central right here on GJRB Online for the Gary Russen program Saturday Extra right here on Spreaker. And we'll have another good show there, and I hope maybe Ben will be able to join us, because that's always fun when he's on, because we're going to talk about a lot of things. There's a lot of big things going on, especially in Pittsburgh, where the we talk about Antonio Brown, the spoiled NFL brat who has the highest contract in the whole wide world, and he's whining and complaining kind of guy, just those kind of people that kind of make your blood boil, the irritant, so we're going to talk about that and a whole lot more coming up. So I hope you'll keep it here on GJRB Online here on Spreaker. I'm Gary J. Russen. Hope you're enjoying the program wherever you're listening across the USA. And I hope you're enjoying the program here on GJRB Online, the Gary Russen program, Saturday Extra. Tomorrow at 3, right here on Spreaker on GJRB Online. And we'll have that show for you. And let's see, what else do we have coming up? We'll take a preview of that. We'll do our Weather on the Fives with Weather Nation coming up right here on GJRB Online. And then on the other half of the hour, we'll do 50 minutes of nonstop talk and music on the other side of the break there. So stay tuned for that. And we'll talk more about stuff. And you can join me there for that. But for right now, we're going to get ready, because it's time for Weather on the Fives. And take a look at what's going on in the weather world. Let's take a look at some of tonight's lows for pretty much the United States of America. Let's go up around Detroit, where it's going to be 66 tonight. It's going to be a cold 62 in Chicago. And when you get by that lake, it's going to be colder. 70 degrees in St. Louis tonight, 66 in Wichita. Going further south tonight, Dallas, Texas, checking in tonight with 77 degrees, 66 in El Paso, Texas, and 55 degrees in San Francisco, 64 degrees in Los Angeles, 53 in Albuquerque, New Mexico, for tonight. More 47 degrees, going to be cold in Spokane, 42 in Boise, Idaho, 55 in Sacramento, California. Tomorrow's high is looking at 54 degrees for Bismarck. South to Texas, 94 degrees in Dallas, 90 in Houston, 93 in New Orleans, Louisiana, 92 in Atlanta, Georgia, 90 in Charlotte, North Carolina, 88 in Washington, D.C., and Saturday's highs again, 44 for Spokane. It's going to be chilly up there because they're getting that storm. Here, let's take a look at the severe weather from Weather Nation.
Severe weather, it just goes on and on here. We had certainly a big spring. It was a little quiet this summer, and now that we're officially in the fall, we get a secondary maximum of severe weather, and it's certainly, going on here in Peoria, Illinois. This is early on today. Look at the rain coming down. It's up to the wheel wells, and what they're doing there, not advisable. We never advise driving across flooded roads. You don't know the condition of the road underneath the water. Maybe there isn't even a road, and of course you don't know how deep the water is. So if you encounter anything like that, turn around, find another route. And in addition to flooding, we have now the threats of severe thunderstorms and also potentially tornadoes.
We're going to have a couple of tornadoes into the rest of this evening. We do have a tornado watch that is in effect across the area there, northern portions of Illinois, and back over into eastern sections of Iowa. It's a severe thunderstorm watch area as well that we'll be looking at. And we have flood threat as well. That's where we kind of are at the moment here. We're watching some of the heavier rainfall. St. Joseph into Michigan, Lake Michigan. Some of the high surf there beginning to show up just outside the beautiful lighthouse there at the end. And like I said, we're still talking about some very heavy rainfall, especially down to the south along I-55 and I-39 coming into 74 near Chillicothe and into Peoria. Let me show you some of these totals now. These are estimated totals from the Doppler radar. And basically just over the last 12 hours or so, which have really been the last 6 hours, 6 or 7 inches, even an 8 showing up there, trying to show up there just to the north of Roanoke. Let me see if I can just do 6 hours, and it's still the same. I mean, it's all about how much rain has fallen into the short term. You saw some of those roadways just inundated with the very heavy rain that we had all across the area, and it goes all the way up to Pontiac, actually, with 6 or 7 inches. Now, some of this, the dual pole radar, dual polarization, allows us to negate, sometimes in the algorithm, to negate ice. The radar looks at the ice pellet, which would be hail. Radar looks at that, and sometimes it'll think it's actually just big raindrop, and it'll account that for liquid, accumulate that into the total. Well, the dual pole accumulation tries to negate that, and so it's supposed to be pretty close. I'm not sure we've had 7 or 8 inches here around Roanoke, but we'll check and get some new data here to find out. It's rained heavily, and the rain does continue there. If we go back to the radar, I can show you some of the showers that still remain. There is a severe thunderstorm warning now for Marshall and Woodford counties. It goes for another 7 minutes. And then over to Ottawa, into Northville and Joliet, or Chicago. Then we get heavy rain again as we get over here into South Bend, southward to Rochester, into the Dry Creek area, Kokomo too. Looks like south of Cedar Lake, actually, in Fort Wayne, Indiana. Some of the heavier rain showers there, too, that we are watching. So we'll see what happens here. This is in our watch area for tornadoes and also the possibility and probability of some strong to severe thunderstorms. The National Mosaic shows a little bit of light snow beginning to fall here and there. Higher elevations only about 10,000 feet at the moment, but that will lower as we go through the night tonight, and the precipitation will begin to pick up around Great Falls. And the rest of the area there also, certainly be watching that. I want to take you out to Logan Pass now to take a look at what's happening. There's some snow already on the mountain, but all of this will have white snow on it tomorrow when we look at the camera again.
That's true, David. I hope everybody got their hiking in Glacier National Park. That's where Logan Pass is. It is going to be a completely different picture when we show that to you in about 24 hours' time. This is really the first major snow of the year coming in, and it is coming in a little bit early for some of the totals I'm about to talk about here. So this could be actually historic September snow out across the Northwest. It really starts coming in right across the U.S.-Canadian border in places like Glacier National Park tonight, late on Friday night, and then really gets going on both Saturday and Sunday before it comes to an end late on Sunday. Valleys 3 to 9 inches, but those mountain passes 12 to 36 inches. We'll be seeing feet of snow come on top of the mountain passes. Winter storm warnings up here for a good chunk of the area, and look at the purple shaded areas. Anywhere you see the purple and especially the pink shaded areas, that's 6 to 12 in some cases 24 to 36 inches of snow coming in, especially when you see that stripe right there in northwestern Montana. It is going to be big snow all the way down out across the Tetons and also Yellowstone National Park. So Montana's snowfall forecast, this is through Sunday. Marias Pass here, 36 to 50 inches. Rogers Pass, about 3 feet of snow there. Cut Bank, 2.5 feet. Great Falls, 8 to 12 inches. Helena, Montana, 4 to 6 inches of snow. So this is a lot of snow coming down very quickly here. The mountain passes are going to be absolutely treacherous, not only with the snow, but also with the winds blowing between 40 and 60 miles an hour. It comes in tonight through Sunday. We're expecting widespread outages, livestock at risk, and blizzard conditions, especially in the mountain passes. Now, for more on winter safety, I want to send it over to John Van Pelt.
Winterizing your car is pretty straightforward. Barry High at Firestone Complete Auto Care in Raleigh, North Carolina tells us how to be prepared for the season.
There are several things you need to do to make sure your car is winter ready. First, you need to make sure your coolant levels are right to keep your system from freezing up. This is especially important if your car is prepared for where you live, but you're driving to a part of the country that's much colder.
Next, Barry says to change your oil to the correct weight for the winter temperatures. Check your battery. Cold temperatures can reduce battery power, and a cold car is harder to start, which means you need all the power you can get from your battery. Next, Barry gives us another big tip.
It's very important that your belts and hoses are in good shape too. It only takes a small leak or a broken belt to leave you stranded in potentially dangerous conditions.
The next thing to check is your wiper blades. And you want winter-ready windshield wiper fluid to prevent freezing and help melt falling snow and ice on your windshield. And last but not least, your tires are obviously the most important part of maintaining safe control during winter driving. Not only are safe tread and proper inflation important, but the correct type of tire for this season is a big safety factor. You also need to have a small emergency kit with water and non-perishable food. You need a small shovel, some sand or cat litter for traction. And don't forget an ice scraper, jumper cables, a blanket, and extra jacket too. And make sure you have a flashlight with extra batteries and a cell phone charger. It really is easy to be safer on the road in the winter. For Weather Nation, I'm John Van Pelt.
Good advice if you're one of those that do a lot of driving in winter, and make sure that you have all that ready to go when there's a first major winter storm, because let me tell you, you don't want to get caught without that. Definitely. Big survival tools from the Weather Nation. We've got some really nasty weather, as you heard, pretty much all over good portions of the country. And right here in Iowa, we're taking a look. They're watching that storm. And I said earlier, I was watching our KWQC Channel 6 here in Davenport, their weather, and they were saying that we're going to get some more of this. And some of that's out of Waterloo, and I think by the time it gets here, we'll be off the air. Got more coming up next up. You'll stay with me, the Gary Russen program, Freestyle Friday edition. We're going to take a break and shortly here, and be right back with more of the Gary Russen program, Saturday Extra. Right after we take this break, we'll be right back.